Something funny that happened is I tried to record this video last night. I sat down here and I was talking to the camera for 45 minutes just to realize that the camera had died 40 minutes ago. So I really hope that this works this time, because I don't want to record it a third time. The battery is full, but this camera doesn't have a flip out the screen or flip up or anything, so I can't see if it's recording, if I'm in frame or anything. So I can only just hope that everything is gonna be okay this time. Anyway, let's talk about medium format. I think that we all know that shooting film comes at a cost, literally. And the bigger the chunk of film that you're exposing every time, the more expensive it gets. Some could say that that is a good thing about film. It costs you something to take an exposure. You're spending money every time you press the shutter. I think that argument is a little bit silly, and I think that film has a lot to offer besides the fact that it's gonna cost you something every time you take a photo. But going back to the point, how much does it cost to shoot medium format film? How much money are we talking about? I'm gonna be talking about my numbers, how much I spent on gear, how much I spent on the darkroom equipment, and how much I spend every time I shoot medium format film. I can only talk from my experience, and medium format film is like a big bucket where we fit anything that is bigger than 35 and smaller than large format. So these numbers are gonna vary a lot depending on the camera that you use and the film that you use and everything. There are plenty of formats, like 6x6 is the one that I shoot, 6x7, 6x4.5, 6x17. So depending on the format that you shoot, you're gonna get more shots per roll, less fewer shots per roll. That is gonna affect your cost. The camera, of course, is gonna affect the cost a lot. You can buy a Holga that is $25, or you can get a Hasselblad that is like $1,000. So as I said, I'm gonna be talking about my case, that it doesn't have to be the same for everyone. You can still shoot medium format film for cheaper or for much more expensive. So about camera gear, you all know my Bronica, you know how much I love this thing. This is the Bronica SQ-Ai. I bought it a little bit over a year ago and I paid $400 for this camera. It came with a prism viewfinder, not this one. I had to buy this one. It was $100. I bought an extra film bag. I have it here. It came with this pouch that I don't even know if it's still available for sale. It's from Low Pro. I don't know if they have it for sale, but it's very convenient, and I'm pretty happy that it came with it. Anyway, so that was another $100, and then I bought this lens too, the 150. It came with the 80mm lens, that is like a 40-45 equivalent in 35, and this is 150. That is what, 85mm equivalent in 35. So those are the two lenses that I have right now. At the time I had another two. I had the 50mm, it was wider, it was like a 28 in 35, and I had the 250mm that it was like a 130 or something like that. But it was a very heavy system. I decided to scale down, and right now this is all I have, plus of course the spare film bag, two lenses, one camera, and that's all I use. So I paid $700 for my current camera system. If you go to eBay right now today, you're not gonna find these prices. Prices have gone up a little bit. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because the stock of Bronicas is declining and there are fewer Bronicas available, or maybe there is more demand because people shoot more film. Whatever the case is, right now it's a little bit more expensive. So expect to, if you were to buy this system today, expect to spend much more than $700. As I said, there are plenty of cameras out there. You can go for a Kiev that is slightly cheaper, or you can go for a Hasselblad if you have more money. They are more expensive. Now that we have the camera, you're gonna need a film home development kit. You need darkroom equipment to develop your film at home. You can send it to a lab, but that would increase the cost of shooting film a lot. I really recommend you to do it at home, because you're gonna save a lot of money, and you can learn and you can experiment with different techniques when it comes to developing too. I uploaded a video a few weeks ago about how I set up my new darkroom here. I'm gonna leave the link around here. But to keep it short and sweet, I'm gonna say that I spent 300 euros here for everything I need. I spent $300 in the US at the time, so it's pretty much the same price. It's $100 for things like the tank, for the thermometer, for the reel and all that kind of stuff that you're gonna need, and $200 more or less for the scanner. You can go cheaper or you can go much more expensive. So once again, it depends on you, on your needs, but expect to spend at least $300. So those two things, the camera gear and the darkroom equipment, those are the two big initial investments that you have to make if you want to shoot medium format film. You need a camera system and you need something to develop the film that you're going to shoot. And now we're going to talk about the stuff that you're going to have to keep buying over time if you want to keep shooting medium format film. We're talking, of course, about film and about the chemicals. Chemicals. I use Ilfotec HC as a developer. If this is your first time, if you're starting from scratch and you don't know anything about developers or any other kind of chemicals, I would recommend you this. This one, I like it. I've used Kodak D76 and Rodinal in the past, and HC has given me the best results, and it's pretty easy to use and to make. So yeah, I would say go for that one if you are in the market for a developer. I do not use a stop bath. And for a fixer, I use Ilford Rapid Fixer. Then I use PhotoFlow, but that thing lasts forever. I think that after shooting 220 rolls of 120 film, I still had half a bottle left, and it's very cheap. So yeah. Once again, and for the sake of keeping this video short, I'm just gonna say that developing film at home, for me, it's about €1 per roll. Don't forget that unless you are planning on throwing away your film after scanning it, you're gonna need archival sleeves and binders to keep the film safely stored for years to come. That adds a few cents to the cost per roll, but we're keeping it simple here, so let's just forget about it. The next thing you're gonna need, a very, very important thing, is film. I use HP5. I buy it for €4.80, pretty much the same price that I was paying in the US, but in dollars. Here you can go cheaper or more expensive as well. FP4 is another film from Ilford, and it's pretty much the same price as HP5. The difference is just the speed of the film. Or you have more expensive film stocks like the, once again from Ilford, Delta 3200. This is like €7 or $7.50, something like that. Or even more expensive film, we have Fuji Acros. This used to be $5 per roll too, but now they are not selling it anymore. So I think that it's going for 12, and it's only gonna get more expensive from here. So yeah, there is still a lot of film stocks out there, and the cost per roll is gonna affect a lot the total cost that you're gonna end up paying a year for shooting medium format film. So most of the time I shoot HP5, as I said. I pay $4.80 for each roll. It cost me €1 to develop that roll, and let's just round it up to €6 because I have to pay shipping for that roll, but I buy them like 20 by 20, so it's not a lot per roll, but also we have to add the binder and stuff. Let's say €6 per roll. That's more or less 50 cents per foot, and that is rather expensive. During the last 12 months, I shot 225 rolls of film, and that cost me $13.50. So yeah, $1,350. That's a lot of money. I'm not gonna say it, but I could say I could buy a decent camera, digital camera, every year with that money. Even better, in my opinion, that money could go towards accommodation or transportation for a photography trip somewhere. So, is it even worth it? Why do I shoot medium format film if it's so expensive? You see, I don't really like shooting 35mm. In my opinion, and this is just my opinion, it gives you pretty much the same experience that you can get from shooting a digital camera like this. You see, it's the same form factor. And I know, I'm aware of the differences between these two cameras. This is a digital sensor. You are never gonna get the same look that you get here, although you can work it out on the computer a little bit. But this is a different experience, but in my opinion, not different enough to justify the pain and the effort that it takes to shoot 35, to develop them and to scan them, because they are a lot of photos. They are 24 to 36 exposures per film. That's a lot of photos. That's why I use this digital camera as my casual camera, my snapshot camera, or for all my experimentation instead of shooting film. I could say even more, if I'm honest, and I think, why do I shoot film? It costs me money that I could be spending somewhere else. It's not giving me much better results than digital. It's cumbersome, it takes time and effort. My head tells me I like the look of film, I like the grain, I like the medium format look. The medium format look is a look that you can't get with 35 or with a digital camera, just because of the sheer size of the film. Look. This is the 6x6 sensor, and this is the digital APS-C sensor. So the difference in size is huge. Let's be honest, I think I got to a point where I learned enough Lightroom and Photoshop. I worked really hard. I spent a lot of hours in front of the computer, but now I've developed some techniques to emulate film that go beyond just the film slider or the grain slider, sorry, and things like that. And I think I could show you guys two images, one film, one digital, and you couldn't be able to tell me which one is really digital and which one is really film. This is not gonna work for every case, of course, because black and white film is still far superior to digital in the way it treats the tones and the grays. But my images are very contrasty. They have a lot of deep blacks and a lot of brighter whites, so it's not a big deal for me. And maybe if you print them really big, maybe you could tell, but in the size that I print them, and I think that you can see that one, they are 6x6 inches. I could bet you anything that no one would be able to tell a digital photo from a film photo. Developing film, I wish someone else did it for me. Scanning film, I wish someone else did it for me. Waiting a few days for the photos, well, I don't really mind about that. Spending money on film or chemicals, well, I'd rather spend that money somewhere else or keep it in my bank account, to be honest. There is only one reason, but it's a big reason why I shoot film, why I shoot medium format film, and it's this. I bought this camera after months of trying 35mm. I had given up on film because it was not an experience for me. At that time, I started shooting a square with my digital camera. I was cropping all my photos and I loved the square format. So I wanted to give film another try, the last one, and this was the perfect camera. I saw it on the internet. I was like, oh, look, a cheap Hasselblad, only 400 bucks. It shoots a square, the format that I'm trying to work with now too. So I bought it, I got it, I was love at first sight. This camera gives me an experience of shooting that no digital camera or 35mm camera can give me. Well, I know that there are some digital cameras like this one, but they are like 50,000 euros, something like that, so I can't afford them. This viewfinder, it makes me feel like a freaking artist every time I compose an image. And if you combine it with an orange or red filter, that's just like every time I look through the viewfinder, I know it inspires me, it pushes me to go out, it makes me a better photographer, it makes me a better artist. And that's why I love shooting film and why I love shooting medium format film, only because of this. So yeah, that was my little rant that has nothing to do with the topic of the video, but I think it's very important to talk about this. I didn't just want to simply give you a number. It's gonna be 50 cents per photo, $1,000 initial investment, and then it's gonna take you a little bit of time to develop and scan the photos, because you might say, "Boof, that's a lot of work. I don't want to go through all of that because I can take the same photos or similar photos with my 35mm camera, with my digital camera," and you could be missing out big time. You don't have to like this camera, you might love TLRs. You don't have to like medium format at all. If you're happy with 35, please, by all means, stay there. But if you're considering shooting medium format film seriously, take everything in account. Take the cost of it is not cheap, but also know that the experience of shooting medium format film is very different from everything that you are used to if you come from a 35mm camera or a digital camera. And it might surprise you in a good way or a bad way. So the only way to know is probably just trying it. Anyway, I hope the camera is still recording. I don't know if this video is gonna be short or long, but thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please leave a comment down below, and see you soon in the next one.